Welcome. My name is Kevin Dawson, and I am the President and CEO of ISA Cybersecurity. Myself and my colleague Wadid Mian will be your hosts today on our virtual tour of our Cybersecurity Intelligence and Operations Center.
Hi, my name is Wadid Mian. I'm the Vice President of Technical Teams within ISA, and I'm the resident geek. ISA is a pure-play cybersecurity organization. That means everything we do revolves around cybersecurity. We don't have a distributed focus on NOC and SOC functions or infrastructure and cybersecurity. It's always purely cybersecurity. Our focus is completely on protecting our customers from cybersecurity threats.
You may hear the term CIOC. That stands for Cybersecurity Intelligence and Operations Center. Many in the industry use the term SOC, Security Operations Center.
We're not just punting, alerts over to customers whereby a customer gets an alert and says, well, what do I do with this? That's never going to be the case with us. It's always going to be some intelligence along with that alert, some actionable recommendation in terms of where they need to go next.
We have 28 years of experience in cybersecurity. Over those 28 years, many of our customers, as well as many new employees, have told us what they've experienced in the traditional SOC, where tickets are sent over to a customer without any contextual or investigative information for the customer to interpret. That is one of the reasons we've called ourselves a CIOC. Every ticket that we provide to a customer has contextual data and extensive investigation to help the customer assess the risk and know exactly what to do about that situation. As we walk up to the CIOC, I'd like to draw your attention to a number of the physical security controls that we have in place for access to our facility. We have video surveillance at all entry and exit points. We also have two-factor authentication to both the office and the CIOC facility, which require both a retinal scan and an access card to be granted access. For the CIOC specifically, we have a turnstile that allows one-way entry or exit for an individual person. Every time that person comes in or out, they must have their retina scanned and provide their access code to be granted exit or entry. We also have very specific role-based access controls. What that means is if a person's role does not require them to be in the CIOC, then they are not granted access. Another important aspect of our physical security controls is the wire mesh that exists between the walls, floor to ceiling. The wire mesh is important for preventing people from actually breaking through the walls and getting access to our physical center. I'd like to now take you inside the CIOC and talk to you a bit about the data security controls that we have. One question that often comes up at this point in time is, have we done anything to validate those controls? And of course we validate on our own, but I'm happy to note that ISA is SOC 2 Type 2 certified, and annually we go through a very rigorous audit to validate the controls that we have in place to secure our customers' very valuable data.
At ISA, we try to focus on both the primary areas of cybersecurity, proactive and reactive. In our proactive practice, we ensure that threat intelligence is core to everything we do. Between subscriptions to vendor-specific threat intelligence sources, open source threat intelligence sources, really any source of IOCs and IOAs that we can subscribe to, that we can get information from, we always do. And we integrate them into our use cases specifically for that bleeding edge, cutting edge threat intelligence. In addition to that, we also have our threat hunting practice, which leverages our EDR solutions at our customer environments to make sure that we're integrating a lot of these IOCs and IOAs and trigger on them. So a new hash that's discovered, a new threat intelligence piece that's discovered is integrated into our EDR and then searched for throughout the customer environment, even though it's existing and we didn't know about it before. From a reactive perspective, we ensure that every alert has actionable intelligence associated with it. That means we're helping the customer, we're guiding them through their investigation, their next steps, where to go next in order to try and get to their remediation. We also have the industry best automation orchestration platform, and we leverage that to tackle the two most important variables in cybersecurity today, which is mean time to detect and mean time to respond. Our goal is always to minimize those two, protecting our customers in a quick and effective fashion. At ISA, we look at events via two different lenses, the tactical lens and the strategic lens. The tactical lens identifies events that are typically higher in severity, higher in risk. These are events that need near immediate attention, and we need to notify the customer as quickly as possible. These are typically actioned in near real time. Strategic events are the ones that don't really present themselves unless you watch the patterns over a period of time. These typically appear innocuous if you look at it on a 24-hour period or even a 7-day period. But over a 30-day period, a pattern emerges that is relatively low volume, but could be something more.
At this point in the tour, many customers ask, is my data physically stored here at ISA's facility? And the answer to that is no. All of our customers' data is stored in a highly secure virtual private cloud environment that can only be accessed through the walls of the CIOC. In fact, ISA has 6 separate ISP connections into our offices. 2 are for our corporate users who need access to our back office systems. 2 connections are dedicated to our forensics lab, where we detonate and test wild viruses. And the final 2 are for our CIOC. The CIOC ISP connections are the only route to our customers' data in our highly secure virtual private network.
For most customers where cybersecurity is not their core competency, there is a huge advantage to moving towards hosted solutions. Typically, a customer will experience significantly smaller infrastructure footprints, lower resource requirements, and avoidance of the keeping the lights on versus trying to keep up with cybersecurity. This makes it a lot easier for customers in terms of having the advantages of the cybersecurity infrastructure without any of the disadvantages of having to host it. And ISA, we try to push that as far as we possibly can. We have a private data center in Quebec, so the Canadian data sovereignty issue is addressed. We ensure that all our platforms and infrastructures are always kept up to date with the latest and greatest versions. We also ensure that we're constantly reinvesting in our use cases to keep up with the rapidly evolving threat landscape, so that all of that results in the customer having the best possible cybersecurity outcomes with the least possible cybersecurity infrastructure investment. At ISA, our most valuable asset is our people, and we've embraced the geek culture for a reason. There have been numerous articles written by Forbes and McAfee identifying the fact that gamers and geeks typically make some of the best analysts. And at ISA, we've experienced that firsthand. We've realized the benefits of having a culture that doesn't accept the status quo. One of the biggest advantages of that is that you will never hear at an ISA CIOC that we've always done it this way. Continuous improvement for us is not just a fancy term, it's not just a process or a procedure that we have to define, it is part of our culture. Every analyst pushes and tries to identify how we can do things better. The mandate for every single member of the team, be it a co-op or all the way up to our CEO, is if you have an idea that'll help make our customers do something better or us do something better, it is your responsibility to share it. And encouraging that geek culture means that there's a safe space for them to be able to do that. It also means that we never have to motivate or push analysts into learning or training. It comes naturally to them. They identify a certain technology or a platform that they're passionate about, and we just have to provide them with the labs and the training to pursue it. It's part of the reason also ISA doesn't subscribe to the notion of having an analyst assigned to an account. An analyst is assigned to a technology, to a platform. So whenever there is an event, the customer is getting an analyst that is the most skilled, but also the most passionate about that particular platform, about that particular event.
Thank you for joining us today. I hope through the virtual tour, Wadid and I have been able to demonstrate how our world-class Cybersecurity Intelligence and Operations Center sets us apart. And we look forward to putting our cybersecurity team to work for you.